Hello and welcome to episode 2 of Cold Case Christmas. In this episode, I'm going to discuss the unsolved disappearance of 7-year-old Daniel Entwistle. He disappeared on Saturday, May the 3rd in 2003. He disappeared from close to his home in Copperfield Avenue, Great Yarmouth, which is in Norfolk on the east coast of England. So let's get into the story of Daniel Entwistle. And there is a twist to this tale, so stay to the end. 7-year-old Daniel Entwistle disappeared from near his home at Copperfield Avenue, Great Yarmouth, on Saturday, May the 3rd, 2003. His parents, Paula and David, became concerned that it had got into the evening and he'd failed to return for his tea. And little boys, age 7, been out playing. He was allowed to go and play in the local neighbourhood. It was considered safe for him to play. He had friends out there. But why didn't he return home? Was he hungry? Something had happened to him. They started to go and look for him. They enlisted the assistance of friends and neighbours, and the local community rallied. It was a close-knit community at the time, but soon they realised that they needed to call the cops in, and a major investigation got underway. The local cops sought help from numerous agencies specialised in search and rescue. As part of their investigations, Daniel was identified on the CCTV at House, which is a local convenience store very close to his home, and there is Daniel seen walking around the store. That put him there at House at 5:05 p.m. that day. There were other potential sightings of him during the day, including being with a group of other boys, perhaps older boys, playing near to the River Yar at Trinity Quay around 3:30 p.m. Some of these sightings said that the older boys were bullying him, but that is unconfirmed. However, his red BMX bike was found abandoned near to the river close to Trinity Quay in the early hours of the next morning. Sonar examinations of the riverbed soon formed a major part of the inquiry. The River Yar is very close. It's less than 0.3 miles away from where Daniel lived at the time. So the river became a major focus. Had Daniel fallen in the river? Had he been dared to swim in the river, to get into the river? Had he been thrown into the river? These were all questions that needed to be answered. But after a long investigation around the river, he was never found. So at the time of his disappearance, Daniel was described as being 3 foot 2 inches tall, of thin build with light brown cropped short hair. He had a pale complexion and a strong northern accent, so not the accent that is typical of people in Great Yarmouth. Daniel was last seen wearing a blue Adidas t-shirt with striped sleeves and Adidas motif on the chest, blue tracksuit bottoms and grey coloured training shoes. But despite a huge police search involving many people, no trace of Daniel was ever found. Since Daniel's disappearance, his family have carried on searching. Various family members have set up social media groups. They've worked hard to try to keep Daniel's name in the limelight, but there's just no trace of him. Did he fall in the river? Was he pushed? Did the river take him and his body had just been missed? We don't know. But since Daniel's disappearance, officers have conducted more than 2,500 lines of inquiry, taken more than 580 statements. According to Norfolk Constabulary's website, officers continued to conduct searches in Great Yarmouth for many years. They received several new pieces of information, which have all been investigated. However, Daniel remains a missing person to this day. So if you do have any information about Daniel, you can email unsolvedcasereviews@norfolk.police.uk. Alternatively, there is a number here on their website. I don't know whether this is still an active number, but it's 01 953 423 819. Or alternatively, you can call Crime Stoppers anonymously on 0800 555 111. His family deserve answers about what happened to Daniel on that day, the 3rd of May 2003. It's such a long time ago. You know, Daniel would be a grown man now. But his family deserve answers. His family still yearn to know what happened. Private investigators over the years have taken up the search and still no answers. Norfolk police say the case is still open and they're still taking inquiries. Daniel's dad, David, never gave up hope of Daniel coming home. But at the beginning of January 2015, so over 11 years after Daniel disappeared, David was found dead in his Lowestoft home in Suffolk. But that's not the twist. David Entwistle was actually a convicted paedophile. This was unearthed by one British newspaper, the Sunday People, and this only came out after his death. He'd actually served a 6-month jail sentence before Daniel was born. He was convicted of having sexual relations with a 12-year-old girl. A document released on the orders of a judge said David Entwistle was, upon his own confession, convicted upon indictment of sexual intercourse with a girl under 13 years on March 26, 1987, at the Crown Court in Preston, in the northwest of England. Now, he wasn't required to sign the sex offenders register because the necessity to sign the register only came into force in Britain in 1997. So Daniel's mother, Paula, didn't know about this previous conviction when she met David and she had Daniel with David. But during the search for Daniel, this came to light and the police told Paula about David's prior conviction and she left him. She didn't want anything more to do with him. He was interviewed as a potential suspect for Daniel's disappearance. Quite rightly, the police were concerned that Daniel's dad, unbeknownst to Paula, was a convicted paedophile. But he was cleared, and it does appear that Daniel disappeared perhaps as a result of an accident, as a result of a dare, or worst case scenario, as a result of being pushed into the river. We may never know what happened to Daniel Entwistle, but his family do deserve answers. So if anybody has got any information whatsoever, please contact Norfolk Police. The case is still open. They still want to know what happened to Daniel Entwistle. Let me know your thoughts, comments below. I've been Michelle. I hope you're well, and I'll see you in the next episode of Cold Case Christmas. Bye, guys.